Hey, so one of the things I want to do with this sequence is give this feeling that like every shot has history, like you're kind of looking back and seeing through layers of time. I want to kind of imply that like a lot of big things have happened in this world, but all of them were in the past, and everything's just kind of like stagnating a little bit. There's kind of this ennui thing going on, and one of the ways to do that is with graffiti. And so I thought my friend Teague made this stuff. More on that later. But yeah, I thought let's talk about how to do graffiti in Blender. So I have this scene here, and I just like the idea of a giant skull kind of in the middle of the desert. I don't know where the rest of the body is, but I don't know if this is an international thing, but around here we have these large rocks called erratics, and they were, during the Ice Age, basically the glaciers came down from Canada and pushed all these rocks, you know, anywhere from the size of like a car to a house, and just left them at random places around. And a lot of times, like high school graduating classes will make it part of their tradition where they'll paint, you know, class of 2007 on this boulder. And so you just have all of these very colorful boulders kind of scattered around it. So I just like the idea of this big erratic skull out in the middle of the desert. Maybe it's kind of a landmark and people come there and like party overnight, or it's used for like navigation or something like that. But there's like little evidences of trash or something and like graffiti and stuff on it of the people who came before. So yeah, let's talk about how to do graffiti in Blender, and we're going to talk about a few different techniques. Here, let's go into material preview here, and I'm going to hide the sky. And it's not hard to do the basics. Like if I select the object, then go into texture paint here, I'm doing it. It's white on white, so you can't really see anything all that well. But if I go to red, ooh, look at that. And I can make a little, yeah, like a lightning. Now it's a cool lightning skull. One thing to keep in mind here, let me open up this the UV editor here. You can see as I paint, it is appearing on the appropriate place, you know, on the image here. And if I zoom out and try to paint something too large, it suddenly gets frozen because it has to think about like, all right, how do we distribute this? And so that's just a thing to keep in mind. But yeah, now if I save this, it will, every time I use this skull in the future, it will always have this lightning thing on it, which isn't necessarily what I want. I might want the graffiti to be specific to this specific skull in this specific scene. So we're gonna talk about how to do that. So the texture paint controls, they're hidden up here. There's a couple here, you know, picking. You can be using clone tool and smear and stuff. We're just gonna stay in drawing, and the actual brush tools are over here under the active tool panel. And you can see right here we get to pick which layer. Here's my normal map. Here's my texture from the PhotoScan app. Here, let me undo this lightning bolt here. We're gonna create our own new layer just for the graffiti. So I'm gonna click plus here. Oh. Base color, we'll just call this graffiti. I don't know which letters doubled in here. We get to pick what resolution we want. It's going to use an alpha channel. What we want is for it to be transparent except for where we paint, so we can still see the skull underneath it. And we've checked alpha, but the alpha will still be 100%, and so we need to click on color and slide the alpha value all the way to 0. That took me a while to find out. Alright, we click OK, we now have our new layer. It's not connected to anything though, so we can't see anything. So we're going to go over into the shader editor, where it will have already dumped our new layer here, into here. But, ooh, I'm using the new Blender 3.0 beta, which has these new colors. I'm just seeing that for the first time. That's kind of fun. I don't think that'll affect any of the workflow. This should be the same as, you know, all the way back to like 2.7, whatever. But yeah, so this is the original, you know, PhotoScan horse skull texture, and this is the shader. We want to slip our graffiti right on top of this in the middle here. So I'm going to use hit Shift A, color, mix RGB. Gonna drag the graffiti down on top of the skull. And you might be thinking, on top of, you put it under. And that's because you're thinking in terms of every other, like, program in the world where the thing on top is the thing that appears on top. In Blender, it's an order of operations thing where it's saying, all right, we're going down the list. First, we're gonna put down the skull. Next, we're gonna put down the graffiti. So this is actually on top. And here, I'm gonna use the alpha channel here to decide which is which. And I think now it should be ready to go. Yeah, there we go. So now we're painting on our graffiti layer, not the actual original horse skull, which is cool. And this kind of, here, let me save this. And this kind of looks like graffiti, and if you kind of, you know, did things right, you could be like, yeah, this is graffiti-ish. But let's make a brush. Last night I spray painted a little blob here, and I inverted it and boosted the contrast, so we should be able to use this as a brush right in Blender. Let's give it a shot. So the default brush, if we click, you can see it's just this kind of like round blob here. And if we go to texture here, we can add what the colors are. It basically lets you say, like, instead of red, what colors are inside that blob. But we don't want to really change that. We want to change the actual shape of the blob. So we're going to go down to texture mask instead. And click new. And because Blender can sometimes be unintuitive, we now have to go out of this panel over down to the texture panel in order to actually say what that texture is. So we'll find our new texture here. Here we can call it paint splotch. Yeah, and we just have to load it in. There we go. We've got it right there. Go back into the tools. And what's it looking like right now? Okay, so right now it's doing it. However, it is tiling it. That's not exactly what we want. So instead of tiled, I'm going to change it to view plane. And I'm going to set the angle to random. So each time the splotch will be oriented a little bit differently. Now look at that. Okay, that looks a little bit more like spray paint. Although you can see it's being kind of weird. And that's because it has also applied this same texture up here to this texture, even though we didn't tell it to. So I'm just going to get rid of that. And now it should do what we actually kind of expect. One thing I found that's kind of cool is if we turn this down to like 40 and go up to advanced and check accumulate, we can actually kind of like, here, let's turn this down a little bit and turn the strength to, oh, not 40, I mean 0.4 or 0.5. It'll actually kind of like, you get a fuzzy area. Huh, this is actually pretty dense right now. Yeah, here we go. Just turning it down, you can see we get these faded areas, but then we also kind of it'll build. And so let's see if we can make something kind of fun. I want like a dark blue background here. I don't even know what I'm doing right now. And now let's create like another kind of here. Yeah, another little background. Maybe like red. Maybe turn the radius down a little bit, and let's see. Let's create some weird eyes. Yeah, ooh, that's looking. Turn it down too much. Cool. Turn the radius back up. Let's give it like a black outline. See if we can. Here, I'm gonna turn the strength back up here. Yeah. Some teeth, and maybe a nose. Pupils? No pupils. And I'm gonna hit S and right click to add a color to the although I guess I didn't have to do that just then, but I can sample that color, and let's add some little like paint trails here to make it look like it's actually kind of wet, you know. And here I'll grab this red too. Doesn't make any sense because of the layers. This would have been painted after, but haha, maybe that's the point. Yeah, a couple more drips here. These ones don't look good, but now we have a little spray painted thing on there. Or you could also just be like, you know, hey, I'm Ian. Was like 4th grade, figured out my name, was just a zigzag, very excited. Okay, but it's hard to create actual good organic stuff with a mouse, and so you can also just pre-make this stuff. Do you guys remember when my friend Teague made the Huberfish font? It's this collection of incredible fonts he made. I shared it back on the Patreon like a month ago. And one of them he actually made by spray painting the letters onto pieces of paper, and so you can actually type it out and kind of make like little graffiti stuff. And I was having so much fun with that. I said, hey, what if there was something kind of like larger scale or kind of more fleshed out? And he took that idea and he came back with this stuff right here. Here, let's look at the close ones. And so these are all like pre-keyed. He actually spray painted these on like tablecloths and big sheets and big pieces of paper and stuff in his backyard. These are some, and like they're just like so much actual texture. He also made these kind of medium scale ones, which are still like really cool and organic and thought out. I really like him. And he made a third pass for really far away, which is I think he made in After Effects using that other spray painted font that he'd made. But we can use these really easily right here in our scene. So now I want to affect the actual texture. Here, we'll click new and we'll say Teague's stuff. Yeah, we go down into the texture properties so we can change Teague stuff into one of his fonts. All right, and I'll just select this one. And if we start painting, you can see it's tiling them 10 million times. That's not what we want at all. We want to be able to place exactly where we want the graffiti to be. So I'm gonna go back under the tool settings, and under texture, I'm gonna change it from tiled to stencil. And that'll pop it up down here. We can control it with our right mouse key, and shift right click to scale it, and control right click to rotate it. It's kind of hard because you're navigating in 3D space and also trying to navigate this big texture plane, but you can kind of just take it slow and it's fine. But yeah, here let's try doing this, placing it right there. Maybe turn up the radius a little bit, and maybe even more. And there we go. Oh, that doesn't work. Okay, let's figure out why that doesn't work. It is using the color of this, but that shouldn't matter. Wait, is it actually using the color of this? Okay, so it is using this color. It looks like it's multiplied against this, or is that... Okay, let's just try changing this color to straight white. Turn down the saturation, turn the value all the way up, and what does that do? Okay, that's what we wanted. So here, we'll just cover this one up with that one, and now I feel more like it's working. And I'm gonna turn the strength all the way up, and here, let's just stick this one here. Go like that, and there we go. That feels more like it's working. Okay, so you just have to have this white, otherwise it'll multiply that color against your stencil color. That is good to know. So I'm just gonna go around now and paint this wherever I want it. And again, it's probably a little bit rude to, like, you know, paint over other people's like work like this, but I kind of like it because it implies just this history to the whole thing. Yeah, let's get another one right here. Cool. Here, let's get the top of the skull with this one. I like this one. Although I guess it has the drips kind of going bizarrely off to that direction. Oh, that's looking cool. All right, here, let's do some more. Oh, right, and if we want to change which one it is, we just go down in the texture thing and pull up a different one. Here, let's do this one now. Ooh, I like this blue. Let's stick the blue right here in the ear hole. I'm trying to think of places that people could actually like get to. Like, I'd like one in the eye socket. That would be pretty nice. Cool. Oh, geez, I'm so glad he made these. All right, and the jaw is a separate object, so I'm just gonna go back into object mode, select the jaw, go back in texture paint mode, and because it has the same material, yes, I can still just keep painting right on here, just like I was before. So here. Cool, that looks good for the big ones. Actually, it's a little bit more uniform than I meant for it to be. I want it to be kind of like really clustered around the base, but maybe we'll make up for that with some of the smaller ones. So here, I'm just loading one of the mid-range ones. And I'm just gonna layer these up. I want it to feel as if people have been coming here for, you know, absolutely forever, you know? Look at this. I just want to layer this up right now. I don't even care. It just feels so cool. Sweet. Load in another one. In fact, I'm just gonna paint. This is not a good way to do it. I don't know. It's fine. Ooh, that's the aesthetic though. It's just like 20 layers of people painting stuff. And here, maybe just on top of that, I will, I'm sure this is not how Teague was thinking they should be used, but I'm gonna load up this one and just do this final dense pass here. Dun, 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 dun. Yeah, look at me caring less as time goes on. No, I'm just kind of realizing what I want for this is to literally, I want the layers of it to just be so overwhelming. In fact, I might go through at the end and add some of these main ones over back on top. Okay, I like this a lot. I think this bit right here is maybe a little bit too horizontal, but I could always add like a big one in there to kind of mix it up. Okay, the most important bit, which I saved for the end, and I probably shouldn't have done that, but you do have to save this image texture. I think if we save, or if we try to close Blender, it might catch us and be like, hey, you made a new texture, but you never saved it. But they don't always by default save with the blend file. So let's go into the image editor here, open up our graffiti layer. I changed it to horse skull base color. Look at that. Oh, that's that's very cool. And we're just going to go down to save all images, and that'll make sure anything you've texture painted or anything, it just will save all the images. So now it's all actually saved, and that'll get you. Some point in your life, it's just gonna get you, and that's just kind of how life goes. And oh right, I added a little me and a Nathan there, being little petty vandals, and some oversized spray cans. And now that I made them before I added the people, and so I'm only now realizing, oops. But yeah, I'll be uploading all of these graffitis. If you want to add them to anything, I know they might be more useful if they were in English or something actual language, but they're still pretty cool. And maybe actually sometimes it's fun to be able to have some color and graffiti and stuff without actually having to like think about specifically what it says. Or maybe not. I don't know. But thanks for watching. I will talk to you soon.